In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and peace and blessings be upon the Master of the Prophets and Messengers, the beloved of the Lord of the worlds, Abu al-Qasim Muhammad. Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, and upon his pure, immaculate, and infallible household. Happy for your representative, the Hujjah, proof. Son of Al-Hassan, your blessings be upon him and his ancestors, in this hour and in every hour, a guardian, a protector, a leader, a helper, a guide, and an eye, until you settle him in your earth willingly and let him enjoy it for a long time. Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, and replace for me the animosity of the people of hatred with love, the envy of the people of insolence with affection, the suspicion of the people of righteousness with trust, the enmity of those near with friendship, the disrespect of relatives with devotion, the abandonment of close ones with help, the mere outward love of those who compromise with sincere affection, the rejection of associates with generous companionship, and the bitterness of the fear of oppressors with the sweetness of security. As you are aware, the topic of our discussion is the noble prayer of Makarim al-Akhlaq, nobilities of character, where every night, as much as God Almighty grants us success, we recite a few phrases from this blessed prayer. By seeking intercession through the attention of the originator of this prayer, we try to offer brief explanations about the concepts and matters derived from them to you, the lovers of the Al-Bayt, peace be upon them all. So far, the summary of what we have gathered from this noble prayer is that initially, a section serving as a prologue of this prayer, which specifies a general index of the prayer's contents, all the main axes of the Imam's request in this prayer was expressed. You know that the criterion of value in Islam is faith and righteous deeds, but between faith and action there are intermediaries. For a person to attain correct and complete faith, there are prerequisites, and to manifest what one believes into action, certain preliminaries are also necessary. Generally speaking, considering the principle of faith that sits on one end of the spectrum and action on the other, and two intermediaries, one being knowledge, marifat, and the other intention, niyat, 4 axes are identified. That is why in the introduction he asked God Almighty, O God, grant me the highest degrees of faith, because this is the root of all values. If there is no faith, nothing else is of any use. But of this value I am not satisfied with merely its lower levels. I want its highest degrees from you. Because for faith and reaching action, knowledge is necessary, correct belief is necessary, I ask you to grant me certainty in what I must believe in and bring faith to, and the best kind of certainty at that, the most excellent certainty. After knowing what I must believe in and having brought the most complete faith to them, to reach action, I must have a correct intention. In truth, what connects faith to action is intention. Otherwise, the physical form of an external action, be it eating, sleeping, getting married, or fasting, i.e. abstaining, giving money to someone, or taking money from someone, can take various forms. These do not always connect with faith. Disbelievers do these things too. That is when an action becomes the best action and stems from faith and finds a connection with faith, when its intermediary is a divine intention. So, among intentions, he asks God for the best intention, and ultimately the best and most valuable action. Thus, 4 axes are defined. Faith in what must be believed, belief to the level of certainty and the best kind of certainty, with a pure intention and the best and most valuable of intentions to reach the best of actions. These are the axes of Makarim al-Akhlaq, meaning what Imam Zain al-Abidin, peace be upon him, asks of God in this prayer. This was the first section of this prayer. It sets the headings of the topics, specifying the main axes around which we are supposed to ask things from God later on. Well, when we get into the details, the first issue is that I must spend all my effort to achieve the purpose of creation, meaning what causes my perfection and happiness. But to be able to spend the most energy and time worshipping God and reaching divine proximity, which is the result of worship, certain prerequisites are needed. Continuing life in this world has characteristics, requirements, consequences, and attachments. These cause me to become entangled in a series of issues, making efforts to earn a living, establishing connections with others. And these might drag me into a situation that completely distracts me from the goal. To earn a living, I might pursue various productions or services that bring in money and gradually become a worldly person and completely forget God. If I get up on that money, I might become arrogant about it, and so on. That is why in the second section he asks God to grant him the success to spend all his strength and ability to reach divine proximity and to secure him against what causes sluggishness in movement or obstacles to movement, so that it doesn't create too many preoccupations for him. To give him halal, lawful sustenance, abundant sustenance, but in a way that doesn't afflict him with worldliness, and so on. This was also one section. In the next section, which we talked about a bit last week, he asked God for the continuity and permanence of these perfections. That now that I have brought faith, found the success for righteous deeds, my intention has become correct, my problems have been solved, let this not be just for a day or an hour, let all of these continue until the end of my life. Let no deviation occur in my beliefs, no doubts or suspicions arise in my path, my intention not change, so that I remain steadfast on the straight path. This was the content of the third section. While gradually these values open up, if we compare it to a pyramid, it's not out of place. The peak of the pyramid is a specific point, but it finds several faces. There are several sides, and each side gets wider the closer it gets to the base, meaning values at the top level are more limited in number and scope. It reaches a point where giving everything for God becomes one word, God. Proximity to God becomes one complete value. But as it comes down, it spreads out and finds different facets, like the lateral surfaces of a pyramid, and it gets constantly wider, multiplying both in length and width. The rest of the prayer is actually like an expression of these lateral faces of the pyramid and the base of the pyramid. All pleasant and noble ethics, the nobilities of character, fall within the vicinity of this pyramid and under the umbrella of worshipping God to reach proximity. Now let's see how from that starting point, which is proximity to God, it spreads and expands in every direction. While among these prayers we read, one point was that for me to be able to undertake this evolutionary movement, to say it in philosophical language, I say evolutionary movement. In mystical language, I say spiritual journey. In our own everyday language, I say to walk this path of servitude, religious language. To be able to walk this path of God's servitude correctly, I can't do this in a vacuum. I must live in a society, I have a family, a wife and children, friends, relatives, coming and going, transactions, marriage, social interactions between the state and the nation, between governments. All of these are involved. When a person wants to worship God, it's not like they can go to a corner in a temple away from people in the nook. Islam isn't that, Islam is that, Islam is that, this life must exist and God must be worshipped everywhere. And God actually laid out this setup so that He would be worshipped in everything.
Not just in a corner solely saying the zikr Yahu to reach God.
Islam isn't like that. And this doesn't provide the true and complete perfection of a human being. A human reaches all facets of perfection when they are a worshipper of God everywhere, not just in the temple or the mosque. On the battlefield, in the market, on the farm, in the factory, everywhere they should be a worshipper of God. If they sit on the throne of government, they should be a worshipper of God there too. If they work in a factory, whether as an employer or a worker, they should manifest their worship of God there too. Islam wants it this way. While now that one is here, inevitably many issues arise in connection with others. And these connections sometimes cause discomforts, preoccupations, worries, and conflicts. Well, we see what goes on in society. A part of this is due to conflicts with people with whom one has enmity for whatever reason. Either they have enmity over worldly affairs or religious affairs, or like Iran and America, where they have enmity over religious affairs, or no, like two worlds having enmity over worldly affairs. Ultimately, life in this world is not without conflict. If conflicts are because there is a root of enmity, a deep resentment, an old grudge existing in hearts, this is one part of the conflict a person finds with others. Sometimes, no, a person hasn't shown enmity to anyone, has no unresolved issues, has no blood feud. For no reason people envy them. They have no relationship with them either. They see them from afar, and from their appearance and looks, to their money, to their wealth, to their social standing, to their knowledge, to their worship. What about perfection they have, what about blessing God has given them, others envy it. This envy of theirs causes them to develop enmity toward this person. They sabotage them. In any case, whichever of these it is, it creates problems for a person, takes up some of their time, consumes their energies. It stops them from getting to their own tasks, to their worship. This is also one type. There is another type. Now, the person has no enmity with anyone, and they are not facing narrow-minded or envious individuals either. They are good people, not narrow-minded. They are believers. They are righteous people, but a misunderstanding has arisen. Now the difference in days. Both are Muslims, both are religious, both are Shiites of Murtada Ali, both even follow the same leader, but there is a difference between them, and the root of this difference is a misunderstanding. They don't understand each other properly, or their tastes clash. This also causes a type of conflict anyway. And things like this. A category of battle of the heart, such as enmity, grudge, envy, suspicion, pessimism, cynicism, and misunderstanding, differences in taste. These become the root cause preventing a person in life from establishing correct, friendly, intimate relationships with individuals. When the relationship isn't intimate and becomes accompanied by resentment, becomes strained, it creates discomfort for a person, creates preoccupation. Even in prayer, their mind is distracted. Why did my friend do this? Now, for whatever reason. Or why did my enemy do this? Or why did that envious person do this? Or why did my certain friend do this? Ultimately, it slows down the movement towards God. Granted, when a person identifies their duty and acts upon it, that action itself becomes worship. But nevertheless, it carries this mental preoccupation for a person. And it's possible that when this preoccupation increases, it ruins the person's acts of worship. It becomes a lifeless prayer without the presence of the heart. They read the Quran, their attention is on. How did we speak with so-and-so last night? Why did he say that? Why did I say that? Their mind wanders. They don't understand what they are reading. They read a supplication similarly. Then they say, why is it that I read the dawn prayer and didn't cry? I didn't feel a spiritual state. It was because of these very things you didn't find that state. These discomforts that arise in connection with others cause those heartfelt attentions to diminish. Well, the topic of discussion for these few sections of the prayer is these very issues. However, these issues themselves have three parts. One part is paying attention to these very internal states of others that cause discomfort for a person, like grudge, enmity, envy, suspicion, misunderstanding, and the like. God, what should I do about these? It was established that we want to ask God for everything, right? Here we must extend our hands to God's hand and say, Oh God, we ask you to remove these things that are in the hearts of others and cause my mental preoccupation in my behavior, holding me back from the correct path and from accelerating in my journey toward you. The heartfelt states that are in the hearts of others, a person asks God to change them. This is one part. Second is that these states have effects in action. The one who is cynical in their heart or harbors envy will eventually manifest this internal state somewhere. When they manifest it, it affects my actions. They sabotage.
If I need their help somewhere, they don't help. They are envious. They don't help.
And ultimately, humans in this world are not independent of the help of others. God wanted human beings to be connected with one another. In the middle of the night, God forbid, a person suddenly gets sick, or themselves, or a relative gets appendicitis. They want to go to the hospital. Now, either they don't have a car, or if they do, coincidentally, their car is broken. Now what do? Coincidentally, their car is broken. Now what do? It's not like there are agencies everywhere where you can immediately call for a phone taxi or an ambulance from the hospital. Well, thank God now, after the revolution, many cities have these, but there are still places where it's not like this, and now I might not have access. A neighbor has a car in the middle of the night, and one goes to their door, rings the bell. "Sir, please let us borrow your car to take our patient to the hospital." He says, "No, sir, I need it myself." Or, "No, it has no gas." Or it has a flat tire. He makes up excuses. But what if it's a close friend? "Oh, Haji, what happened?" He runs. Even if he doesn't have one himself, he procures it from somewhere else. This is the difference between friendship and enmity, right? It's an office, I have administrative work, and I go there. If I have an intimate relationship with someone, they immediately run and sort out the person's work and get things moving. Of course, it's their duty, but when there is affection, they do it with speed and a cheerful face. When it's not there, no, now sit until it's your turn. And if their turn comes, who knows if it will be today, tomorrow, or sometime later. These issues exist in the matters of human life. If that animosity turns into friendship, if that envy turns into optimism and affection, how much easier things flow. Life becomes a rose garden. So one must both think about that animosity that is in the hearts of others and also ensure that the behaviors originating from them don't ruin our affairs. That their plots, the conspiracies they make, the sabotage enemies commit are neutralized. That these don't yield results and ultimately reach our own goal. Provided means yourself so that these hostile behaviors others commit toward us don't become obstacles in our path. This is also a matter. The third matter is, well, now some people have shown enmity toward me. What should I do with them? Our business has passed. Now either it was fixed and we are out of the woods, or no, a problem arose, and anyway their sabotage had an effect. What should I do in response? Should I think of taking revenge, saying, now that you did this, I also know what to do? Or no, must I behave differently? Well, we all know what Islam wants. Islam wants forgiveness, wants affection, wants that if someone did bad, you do good in return. Repel evil with that which is best, and the one between whom and you there was enmity will become as though he was a devoted friend. If you counter others' badness with goodness, it causes the person who had enmity with you to turn back and become an intimate friend. Islam wants it this way. But practicing it is very difficult. Someone who until yesterday brought whatever calamity they could upon a person, now today needs my help. What shall I do? Go serve them. It requires strength, and for God to grant success. So here, three matters are raised, all of which must be asked from God. First, that enmities turn into friendships. Second, that their enmities do not have a bad effect on me, do not ruin my work. That's two. Third, that I succeed in performing an Islamically acceptable, God-pleasing behavior in response to their behaviors. These are the generalities of these sections. Now we will review once to see what is derived. O Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, and replace for me the animosity of the people of hatred with love. We said people get into conflicts with a person because of enmity. It's an old enmity. They have a grudge in their heart, and that grudge causes them to act with hostility toward us. He asks God that the enmity of such people turns into friendship. Abdulni, replace for me, replace the enmity of the people of Shanaan. The spiteful ones turn their enmity into love. If I give a literal translation of this, it's not correct. These conjunctions in Arabic and Persian don't always correspond.
Abdilni min bukdati al-mahabba.
If we translate it just like that, the meaning doesn't come out right. Meaning to turn the enmity of the people of hatred into love. It is Abdil, but it's not translated like that in Persian. And the envy of the people of insolence with affection. O God, envy of the people of insolence. Those who are jealous, and this envy of theirs causes them to overstep their bounds to oppress me. Turn their envy into affection, mawada, into intimacy, and the suspicion of the people of righteousness with trust. We said it might not be enmity, nor envy. It is misunderstanding, suspicion. People might be people of righteousness, pious and worthy, but they are suspicious of me. Turn their suspicion into trust. Halfaika. And the enmity of those near with friendship. In their connections, a human has degrees. Connection with relatives is one kind, with close neighbors is another, with distant relatives is another. Each of these requires a specific kind of relationship. Its expressions in this context refer to close relationships distinct from the general relationship we have with all people. Relatives, near ones. Anain, those near. Akrabin, close relatives. Dawi yalarham, blood relatives. There are a few terms that have similar meanings. Adnain means those near turn their enmity into walaya. Walaya with a short a means friendship, but walaya with a short I means guardianship, governance, authority, and from the enmity of those near friendship, a walaya. And the disrespect of relatives with devotion. Those who are from a person's bloodline and close relatives and should not be disrespectful oking, meaning they shouldn't be unkind, sever ties or mistreat, turn their mistreatment into goodness, devotion, mabara, and good behavior, and the abandonment of close ones with help. There are instances a person finds themselves needing help, I ask for help and they abandon me. Kitlam. Kitlam means they didn't help, didn't assist. In return, now that I have the ability, I should help them. Turn their abandonment into Nusra, offering help. And outward love of those who compromise with sincere affection. This is a very subtle point. I mentioned His Holiness examined all aspects of these kinds of relationships. Well, suppose there's a person who has somewhat of a strained relationship with us, holds a grudge, but is a wise person and doesn't clash with us. They compromise with us. They tolerate us. But it's not out of love. They do this to get their own things done. Out of their own intellect, they say, why should we come and, even though we are suspicious of this person, why should we act badly? Let's get along with them. A kind of accommodating behavior. The Imam says, I am not satisfied even with this. I want something higher. This person still holds some resentment in their heart. They are cynical toward me even if they don't show it much in action. But this isn't enough either. Let them have an honest love, and the love of those who compromise. Those compromisers who show love, what one knows this affection isn't deep from the heart. Turn this superficial love of theirs into tashi al-Mikah. Mikah also means love.
It means intense love.
Mikah also means a lover. Tashi means turn their behavior into having a correct, real, and sincere love for me. Well, this wasn't the case where they compromise with a person and go along. Well, what if they explicitly rejected? They said, no, we won't do anything. I have work, I need it myself. And the rejection of associates with generous companionship. Those whom I associate with whom I have connections, if they reject my request, do not accept to help, turn this rejection of theirs into karama dashra, into good behavior and noble companionship. And finally, among them are people who are oppressors and tyrants, and they threaten a person. They might not even act on their threat, but anyway it creates anxiety for a person, creates fear and dread, and the bitterness of the fear of oppressors with the sweetness of security. Instead of the bitterness that arises from the fear of oppressors, grant me the sweetness of security. All of these are regarding the internal states of others that cause discomfort for a person. The second section begins, now, people did these things, meaning God, due to the wisdom he had, or before I made this prayer causes some of these changes to occur. Before I had prayed, there were people who did things creating problems for me. Or no, this prayer also doesn't just disrupt the order of the universe, meaning anyone who wants to hold enmity toward me will have their hands tied. Ultimately, wise divine ministration is in place. Where God sees it fit, he leaves the hands of an enemy open to not only behave badly and threaten, but also to explicitly oppress and transgress. Now, if someone set out to oppress, what should I do here? Again, he asks God that their oppression does not have a bad effect on me, that their plots don't ruin my work. The second section begins. O Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and his family, and grant me a hand power against whoever oppresses me. Well, now, if someone oppressed, what then? Establish a power for me, give me a capable hand so that I can stand against their oppression, and atone against whoever disputes with me, whoever engages in bad-mouthing and hostility against me. Give me a tongue to be able to answer them. Of course, a religiously acceptable answer, and victory over whoever stubbornly opposes me. Someone who acts with stubbornness toward me, acts obstinately, wants to annoy me, grant me the success to be able to emerge victorious and not fall under the influence of their deceit and trickery. And grant me a stratagem against whoever deceives me. There are people who walk underhandedly, draw plans, use trickery. Give me the ability to nullify that trickery, the power of a stratagem that nullifies the trickery of others, and power over whoever oppresses, crushes me. There are also those who want to crush me. Give me the strength to be resilient so I don't get crushed, and the refutation of whoever defames me. There are people who unjustly find faults, attribute false things to a person. May I be able to refute them, to prove that your attributions are incorrect, and safety from whoever threatens me. They threaten me. Give me safety from the bad promises, may I remain safe, and grant me success to obey whoever guides me properly and follow whoever directs me. Conversely, those who help me and guide me, grant me the success to obey them. Well, what was the axis of these? Its axis was that those who set out to act with hostility toward me ultimately cannot crush me, destroy me. This is the second section. Now, if someone did this and oppressed me, tomorrow when I gain power, what should I do with them? Should I take revenge on them or not? This third section also relates to this aspect. O Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and his family, and guide me to contact whoever deceives me with sincere advice. Those who treat me with deceit, cheat me, act with hypocrisy, cheat in business. May I offer them sincere advice in return, to counter, to balance out the one who deceived me with sincere advice. Let me be a well-wisher for them. Let me be sincere, not two-faced. Until they reward whoever abandons me with goodness. Those who cut ties with me distance themselves from me. Let me reward their distancing with kindness, and to repay whoever deprives me with generous giving. I needed help. I asked them for help, and they were stingy. They didn't do it. In return, now that I have the ability, let me give to them, and to recompense whoever cuts me off with connection. Those who severed their connection with me out of cynicism, out of suspicion or enmity, severed family ties, severed honesty and friendship, let me do the opposite and establish a connection with them, and to oppose whoever backbites me with good mention. Those who gossiped behind my back, spoke badly, it reached my ears, I know what things they said behind my back. Instead of the backbiting they did, let me praise them behind their back. Say, that certain gentleman, I know he is not a bad man, he is a good person, he served well in such and such place, he did a good deed in such and such place. and to give thanks for the good and overlook the evil. Generally speaking, whoever did me a service, let me be thankful, and whoever mistreated me, let me overlook it. O Lord, we swear to you by your might and majesty, make the might of Islam and Muslims increase daily. Illuminate our hearts with the light of faith, knowledge and love for you and your close friends. Awliya, make us more familiar with our duties. Keep us more successful in performing our duties. Resurrect the soul of the late Imam and the souls of the martyrs with the prophets and the Awliya. In the dear night we have ahead of us, grant us all the success to perform the best and most accepted of deeds. Make the shadow of the Supreme Leader endure over our heads. Keep the servants of the Islamic system successful in serving Islam and the Muslims. Hasten the reappearance of the Master of the Age, Wali al-Asr. Make us among the servants of the threshold of that holiness. Bring our end to a good conclusion. And peace be upon you, and the mercy of Allah. Please recite a salawat. O Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, and upon his pure, immaculate, and infallible household.